photos made in the mind by years of sorrow will take years to heal. This is a photo called Tereska, taken in 1948 by photographer David Chim Seymour. Seymour had been sent by UNICEF to report on children after World War II. Many of these children were understandably extremely traumatized. This particular photo depicts Tereska, a 7 or 8-year-old Polish girl who was a member of a school for backward and psychologically upset children. In this image, she is completing an assignment from her teacher, a seemingly simple prompt in Polish, "Tu jest dom," or in English, "This is home." However, as a Times article aptly puts it, Tereska could only trace in chalk a tangle of frantic lines. Her haunted eyes reflect her confusion and anguish. This is an undeniably effective and poignant photograph. On Tereska's face, the viewer can see the horrors of war felt by millions of people manifested in one frantic expression. The photograph was eventually published in Life magazine in December of 1948. Tereska was then employed again in Edward Steichen's famous transnational photography collection, The Family of Man. Today, we're going to investigate one question. How exactly did Seymour come to produce such an effective and evocative photograph? In order to find our answer, we must analyze underlying factors that impacted the production of this particular image. Seymour's story. As a Jewish boy during World War II, Seymour studied in Paris, away from his family, who remained in Poland. Anti-Semitism was on the rise in his home country. Consequently, Seymour's father's business began to fail. Young Seymour had to work in order to pay for his studies, so he began photographing working-class and unemployed people in Paris for French magazines. Thus began his journey to become a documentarian of society's dark underbelly. The function of photography in the wake of World War II. The Red Cross estimated that 13 million children in Europe lost their parents as a result of the Second World War. The UN and other agencies attempted to provide relief, while the press carried out their own sort of visual advocacy. As Simon Gigliotti states in his analysis of refugee photography, these children were a living, innocent testament to the war's cruelties. Depictions of these blameless victims of war were effective emotionally, and in turn they became politically advantageous. Photographs of children and the sympathy they elicited were used to garner support for transnational relief programs. This global context is vital to understanding the artistic and political factors that contributed to Seymour's creation of this photograph. The impact of print media. Tereska was taken in 1948. By this time, how photographs would appear in print massively impacted the production of images, particularly social and documentary photographs. One of the biggest forces in print photography at this time was Life magazine. David Seymour was closely linked to this publication as he had co-founded Magnum Photos, one of the agencies that sent Life materials. Life magazine encouraged certain qualities in their photographs that are present in Tereska. They considered how the newspaper would be viewed, and in doing so prioritized large, vertically oriented photographs with a certain rousing intensity, images that encapsulated the subsequent stories. This was how Tereska was represented in Life. Seymour had clearly internalized this goal, to achieve emotionality, to immediately grab the reader's attention. Life and the photos it contained were also part of a larger trend, globalization and mass-produced photos. Photographers were encouraged to capture photos that unified the human experience through the presence of relatable iconography and expressions. Tereska certainly has this global appeal. Seymour's mission. As I mentioned, Tereska was part of Seymour's larger UNICEF commission tour of Europe in the summer of 1948. On this trip, he photographed many countries that had been upended by the war. Seymour is quoted as saying, "I speak the language of pictures. I went to Poland, Hungary, Greece, Italy, and Austria with my eyes and my camera open to the faces of children." Many other photographs from this tour include the same themes and iconography as Tereska. For example, this photo, school children waiting to be fed, Vienna, Austria. This image depicts the agony of forced migration, and it specifically arouses sympathy through the use of children. Similarly to Tereska, there is a definite chaos present in the subjects, one that is inherent to the post-war experience. This disarray is represented here by the visually confusing conglomerate of all the children's cups and bowls. Seymour evidently had honed an effective method of representing suffering and eliciting sympathy. In order to understand how Tereska is such a powerful image, it is essential to break down its visual components. This photograph was, as mentioned before, a part of a globalizing movement. After the war, artists and laymen alike sought renewed connection with the people of the world, or at least the aesthetic illusion of a connection. This necessitated uniting iconography, namely depictions of families, familiar community dynamics, and children. As such, this photograph is a perfect example of the powerful sympathetic appeal of a child's face. Seymour focused on children in his work by no accident. Gigliotti suggests that seeing the pure beauty of a child's face destroyed or skewed makes the conditions of this destruction seem all the more urgent and ethically troubling. The face invites the viewer into an emotional connection with the subject. We see Tereska, feel her pain, because she is a child, we assume her innocence. In addition, there are specific details in Tereska that make us feel such a devastating connection. She is looking away from her drawing, suggesting a lack of agency. She is standing, frantic, with the scrambled world of her imagination spinning around her. She seems lost and horrified. This evokes the disorienting displacement of her brethren in Poland and throughout Europe. Seymour achieved the success that is Tereska, due to a combination of many factors. These include his own personal story, the effects of World War II and print media on modes of representation in photographs, his established artistic focuses on his mission through Europe, and of course the implementation of specific visual elements. As a testament to this photo's efficacy, I'd like to point out that its journey did not end with Life magazine or the Family of Man. The image has reappeared in modern exhibits to contextualize current refugee photography, as we continue to live in a world overcome by refugee crises. Older images like Tereska still serve as powerful visual emissaries for displaced people of the past and the present.